You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Let's get spooky. This is our station, Boo, where we explore the dark and mysterious corners of the world of horror, and we know that you are dying to listen.
And welcome to the spooky and kooky podcast of our station, Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing our haunted host with the mosty most, we have our lovely Lisa.
Hello, groovy ghoulies.
We got our kick-ass Karen.
What up, my horrorholic?
And I am your spooky Shannon. And today we are going to be talking about the man of the hour, Mr. Matthew Lillard. So, let's get spooky.
Hey, horrorholics. It's time for the Ghastly Report. Stay tuned for all the fun, spine-tingling news happening in horror today, from new releases to spooky events and so much more.
And now it is time for the Ghastly Report. So it is just Karen and I on this bad boy. So we've only got a couple pieces of fun horror news, and then we've got our July releases. But for news, Lee Cronin has finally wrapped up filming on his version of The Mummy. So he's part of this revamp on some of the classics from Universal. So that's kind of exciting. The movie is supposed to release in April 2026, but this early wrapping might mean we might get it a little sooner. Fingers crossed. Possibly. Maybe. But I'm excited to see how this one turns out. Karen, what do you have in the news circuit?
So, Mexico produced its first stop-motion feature film called I'm going to butcher the name of this. I Am Frankadel, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it's endorsed by Guillermo. Oh my God, I can't even speak tonight.
Guillermo del Toro.
The Toro. The Toro endorses it. So, you know it's going to be good if he's endorsing something. It's basically a story about a girl who wants to be an author, and she becomes a ghost, and so she's called to the world of monsters, and it's a stop motion picture, a full movie, like 2 hours long, of pure imagination. I want to see it because
me too.
Because I do love me some stop motion. It's been a while since there've been some good stop motion features. So
yeah, and Del Toro definitely loves that stuff. So you know it's going to be good. The few pictures in that article you sent me looked amazing.
Yeah, it does. And I'm like, is this really stop motion or is this computer animated? You know,
right?
So we'll see.
We'll see. It leaves a lot to the imagination. Last but not least, though, in the realm of horror news, I know last week I kind of hinted at, or I kind of talked about it. I was like, I can't wait to hear what the girls have to say about it. But Young Frankenstein is going to become a TV show on FX. And the creators like Taika Waititi and one of the other writers from What We Do in the Shadows is going to be the ones taking care of this new TV series that does have Mel Brooks's seal of approval.
Ooh.
Right?
Yum.
I know. I'm kind of excited as a What We Do in the Shadows fan and somebody who just kind of likes that like weird, quirky New Zealand humor.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that Mel is like giving his thumbs up and he's like, nah, I want these guys to take it. Yeah, no, please take it.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
If Mel Brooks is like, no, I want these guys to have it, you know that it's in good hands, and you know that he's gonna be thrilled with how it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
It is July, and it is our first episode in July. So that means we're gonna tell you all the fun stuff. Movies that are coming out in July of 2025 that we think you guys should be taking a look at. First one, it's coming out on Tubi, and it is from the director of Sharknado. It is called Great White Waters. It's coming out this month on Tubi, so keep an eye out. I've heard some really good things about it. Now, don't know if it's going to be on the same lines as Sharknado, so it's going to be like that kooky, like kind of deal, but we'll see. We also have I Know What You Did Last Summer. We have Abraham's Boys, The Home, and House of Eden are some like fun movies that are going to be coming out. When it comes to TV shows, there's a few that are coming out. We do have The Sandman coming out on Netflix. Then we have Push, which is coming out on Shudder or AMC Plus. We have The Institute that is coming out on MGM Plus. Foundation, which is coming out on Apple TV. And Twisted Metal, which is coming out on Peacock. But Karen, what fun bookie books do we have coming out?
Okay, so on the 8th, we have Predatory Natures by Amy Goldsmith. On the 15th, we have by Stephanie Sanders Jacob, Drop Shipped. Also on the 15th, Stephen Graham Jones. It looks like a book collection called The Killer on the Road or The Babysitter Lives. It's like two novellas. It's like two novellas into one.
Okay. Because I know he did that other collection of stories is called, why is my mind blanking?
Mm-hmm.
Anthology?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, anthology, yeah.
Yeah. He did a couple of other anthologies, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't remember the titles right now.
The Only Good Indians.
Yeah, he did that one.
Mm-hmm. And then he was part of the Never Whistle at Night, but he wasn't a main writer for it. He was just like gave us thumbs up on that one. And we've covered both of those. But please continue. Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. One Yellow Eye, Leah Radford.
Okay.
Let's see what's coming out on the 22nd of July is Dumort by Michelle Tang. Okay. That looks to be interesting.
What's it about?
A woman is haunted by an angry phantom. She enlists the help of an infamous occultist with a dark secret.
Ooh. That does sound interesting.
It does sound interesting, but I'm hoping it's not going to be like some sort of dark romance, horror,
fantasy thing.
Fantasy. I'm like,
romanticy.
Romanticy. I'm like, I just want a horror, please. Don't. I don't want to see you on like Book Talk with all these men's with their shirts off.
I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't say no to seeing that. However, sometimes I just want a good horror book.
Yeah, we all want a good horror book. That's me. On the 29th, by Daniel Kraus, Angel Down.
Rock on. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate you.
Yeah, the problem.
And so, our lovely little ghouls, our fellow horrorholics, if you know something cool that is happening, you can tell us in our Discord. There is a section for you to post links to articles about things that are happening that you're excited for. And remember, go to our link in our bio and you can check out our Discord and join the server. It's kind of fun in there. We got some fun questions that pop up every day. But with that being said, let's get into talking about Mr. Matthew Lillard. Hey Horrorholics, it's Shannon. Earth Station Boo has just launched its brand new merch store. It's time to get your hands on some killer gear. From our fun logo shirts, cozy hoodies, Let's Get Spooky stickers, and Horrorholics Anonymous totes, there's something for every one of our lovely little ghouls. We offer our spooky designs on many different types of products to fit your desires. But if you happen to see a missed opportunity, just let us know. And unlike most of Stephen King's adaptations, you know what I'm talking about, you won't be disappointed with the quality of the products. Head over to our link tree in our bio, grab your merch, show off your favorite horror podcast, and most of all, let's get spooky.
Everyone these days could use a little support. And your friends at the ESO Network are no different. With the ESO Network Patreon, the cool thing is when you help support us, it's you who will benefit. With 4 tiers starting for as little as 25 cents a week, you can listen to some of your favorite network podcasts early, hear exclusive content, maybe get some ESO swag, or even possibly take a shot at the geek seat. All you need to do is sign up at patreon.com/ESO Network.
So, starting with Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, to now Mr. William Afton in Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Scream 7, Carrie, the TV series. We have Mr. Matthew Lillard that we're going to be talking about. This man has had a very interesting and very diverse career, but he's done quite a bit in the horror realm. So let's give him the justice that he is so well deserved when it comes to him as an actor in horror. Ladies, what are your thoughts on Matthew Lillard?
I absolutely love Matthew Lillard in horror. He's got such a dynamic range of the way he develops his characters. And it's just like he puts himself into that character. And, you know, I think he does a really good job. I mean, I've seen him from when the first movie I ever saw him in was like 13 Ghosts. I didn't know that was him in Ghoulies 3, though. Now I have to rewatch it. But yeah, I really I think he's definitely going to be a real icon in horror, just like Tony Todd and all them. So yeah, he's definitely got the greatness for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Karen, how about you?
After 13 Ghosts, he was supposed to be my husband. Like, we were supposed to get married at Halloween, have this lavish wedding, extravagant, horror, everything. But yeah,
I think he was already married by then.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care.
Oh,
I didn't know. Okay. So, that young me did not know. So we were supposed to get married. All right. Where was I going with that?
You were supposed to get married.
Yeah, we were supposed to get married.
Happily ever after.
Happily ever after. But yeah, he is like quintessential to like my horror growing up. Like even though he's like low key, he's still an icon. Like when you mention him, people are like, oh, I know who he is, because he has that distinctive voice and distinctive face.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the everyday man, like Tony Todd, when it comes to horror. You just like seeing more of him. Not less, more.
Yeah. This is a guy who I don't understand why Hollywood didn't just snag him up and put him in everything after Scream. But they slept on him.
Right.
But at the same time, I think if they hadn't, we wouldn't have him in the things he's in now.
True.
So even though, yes, I absolutely hate the fact that like his career didn't boom like some of the other people from Scream, he's a fantastic actor. Like, I love him in almost everything that I see him in, from SLC Punk to Without a Paddle. And that's not even counting all his stuff that he's been in horror. Like, obviously, he was Scooby-Doo, which is like gateway horror for kids. And 13 Ghosts, he was fantastic in. Loved him in Bloodsucking Bastards, Devil's Child. Like, he's been in a lot of really great stuff. People just kind of slept on him. And with all of that, he's just still enjoyable to watch. And when you see him on there as William Afton, like, I think the transformation's amazing. And I think he's just so enjoyable to watch. He mixes the goofy with the manic and in such a perfect way. So he's kind of become a horror icon to multiple different generations and for different things. Like, we have a lot of us who are like, hey, I know him as like Stu from Scream or, 13 Ghosts. But then you have a whole generation who knows him as Shaggy, from Scooby-Doo. And then now you have like this whole new generation who knows him as William Afton in FNAF. And so what do you think makes it so fans just instantly connect to him despite the generations? Because each generation is definitely different.
Well, for me, it's because, like I said, he's the everyday man. He's not, he doesn't have that conventional attractiveness like Chris Pine or Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. He's like the blue collar worker that is everyday person, and I like that because I could feel connection to him. Like he's not out there living like a Hollywood dream. He's just living his dream. He wants to act, he wants to perform, and he wants to have fun with it. And you can tell he has fun with all the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why that people love him so much, is because he's so down to earth.
Yeah. Lisa?
Yeah, one of the interviews, he said he classifies himself as a blue collar worker actor, which is really cool because yes, you could tell he enjoys it, and if an actor enjoys and he brings out his personality in all the characters, so you can connect with it. It doesn't matter what generation. It's just he makes sure that he's having fun with it and has enough of the character and enough of himself in it that you just get connected and you can't not enjoy it. I mean, I haven't seen one thing that he's been in that I haven't loved. He's just that dynamic. And I think that's why it works with all the generations. And he's himself. And I think that helps a lot. He's just himself.
Yep.
And he does it because he loves it, not because he wants to be like millions and millions and all. He does it because he loves it. I have a lot of respect for him for that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think he has a natural charisma that shines on the screen where you just like, you instantly like want to be his friend. I mean, even when you go and you watch him at like the cons and stuff, like you see it, like he actually understands that he wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the fans, and he appreciates them and respects them. And you can tell that he's truly touched by the interactions. I think he's also kind of good at picking roles. Some of the roles that he's had, like he's basically gone in and said, hey, like there's like one that he's talked about where he's like, yeah, I went in, I had to take my kids to go see Scooby-Doo. It was like kind of like a premiere thing. It was like an opening night thing or whatever. And he's like, I promised my kids I would take them to go see Scooby. And he's like, I went to this interview or this audition and said, hey guys, I need to do it. I need to do it quick because I gotta go take my kids to go see a movie. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he went in, he did it. He ended up getting the role. I think it was for like The Departed, which I know isn't horror, but it was still just one of those deals of like, it was not how you do an audition in Hollywood. And he was like, I don't care. Peace out. Like, I gotta go be a dad. And so the fact that he, in his own personal life, has this work-life balance, you can see that he's willing to do that balance when it comes to his characters. He picks the characters that allows him to do that. I think he just does a fantastic job with each one. And even though, yes, there are very specific things that this is Matthew Lillard, like especially in his earlier ones when he would do like the crazy like with like the tongue hanging out thing, or his weird like jokey body language. Yeah, he might not do that now as William Afton, but you can still see that same spirit. You can still feel that like that manic goofiness that he has deep inside him, and it draws you in. You want to see it. You want to be part of it.
He kind of reminds me of a wrestler that I love, that with that natural charisma, R-Truth. Like he has this so natural charisma that you just want to be friends with him. He's like, I don't care what he like. You just want to be around his circle and just feed off of his energy, like an energy vampire. Because you're like, you smiling makes me feel good. But you like, being here makes me feel good.
I feel like if you hung out with with Matthew, I think you would feel better if
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You would feel
absolutely.
energized after hanging out with the dude.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I kind of touched on it a little bit about him being kind of a chaotic horror character. And usually when he's in these horror films, he's kind of either morally gray or he is the villain. So does his mix of like the charm, and then when the switch flips, he becomes kind of almost menacing. Does this make his villains a little bit more scary, entertaining, both? What do you feel about all of this, Karen?
I think because of how he acts, because he's a very versatile actor.
Very.
And he's very effective on, what he could do and what he could portray in his horror characters. His mix of charm and menace, like, in Scream, was very scary. Like,
Oh yeah.
dude, like, oh my God, you're not a sociopath, you're a psychopath. Like, didn't he
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like if I remember correctly, because it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but
I just watched it. I can remind you.
okay, so didn't he let his sister get killed? Or
No,
no,
his
his girlfriend.
He
Yeah.
killed his
He like
girlfriend.
that, like he killed his girlfriend. I'm like, dude, that's psychotic. That's
Mm-hmm.
and most sociopaths like that I know like one, they mimic emotion.
Mm-hmm.
His character was not mimicking emotion. His character was straight psychopath. Like straight
Oh
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
his ability to transition from different villains makes him entertaining. Because with Five Nights at Freddy's, he was like that meek, mild manager that you wouldn't think would do anything wrong. He kind of sus, but you're like, oh, okay, he's kind of giving this dude a job. And then, surprise! You're like, oh,
Surprise, motherfucker.
yeah, surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean, he straight up said, surprise, motherfucker, I am the bad guy. You're like, what the fuck, man? I didn't see that
Yeah.
coming. I thought he was going to be in there for like, a minute or two. That was it. And then next thing you know, I was like, damn, you are the serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was the chick. I thought it was the police officer.
His daughter.
Yeah. I thought she was, and he was just covering it up. Like, like any parent would do. If their child do something wrong, they're going to cover up for them, right? So,
Nope, it was the other
yeah.
way around.
No, it was the other way around. So, yeah, his ability to portray anything that you need him to portray is very effective.
Oh yeah.
And I would love to see, of course, I would love to see him as a hero too. I want to see him as like, the final guy. Not just Scooby-Doo final guy, but I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Lisa, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the way he transitions is brilliant. That you have such a connection, it throws you off, and it is creepy. And like when in FNAF, I mean, the way he just came out of the suit and was like, "Ha!" I'm like, "No way!" And it's funny because he was saying that he didn't even know what he looked like till he saw the movie.
Yeah.
So that's how good he is. Because we all saw it and we're like, oh my God. And then he didn't see it till the movie came out and he didn't realize. And he did such a good job even not seeing what happened. So, yeah, I mean, and in Scream, just that psychopathic, ha 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 ha, just everything he does is fantastic.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's just so versatile. And he surprises you with going from, oh yeah, to boom, So,
Yeah.
if when he gets a really, really dark role, he's going to scare the crap out of me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just stay tuned for William FNAF.
I know.
Because this next one is, I want to say, is mostly about him. I think Matthew, he is so versatile. And you can see it in a lot of his different roles. Like,
oh yeah.
with Stu in Scream, you knew that he was like a screwed up guy from the beginning, but you didn't realize how messed up he was until the end.
Oh yeah.
Like you just thought he was like just like the normal asshole, and he's anything but the normal asshole. And then you go to 13 Ghosts, where he plays a psychic who can see and can feel these ghosts and all the craziness that that imposes, and how he almost kind of became traumatized by his gift, which then made him do morally questionable things like
Yeah.
like collecting ghosts. And then but then at the end he sacrificed himself to save the kids and to save the family. And so like you could see this just amazing dichotomy of an individual in that. And then you come to William Afton in FNAF, and it's
Yeah.
we're like, yo, dude, you are evil incarnate. You're like, you're pure evil. WTF.
Right?
So, yeah, like his range and the way that he's evolved and the way that he has changed, like just over the course of these years, like what is that? From like 96 to 22, I think was when the film was actually
So, yeah.
filmed. Like that's massive. That is a massive time frame to evolve as an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Oh,
was
I
even
know.
in Twin Peaks for an episode. He did Shaggy in Supernatural. I mean, you have him as Shaggy even, which is like a whole other like spectrum to the horror genre. So it's like it's so cool to see how he has evolved and how each character holds like a little bit of him and yet is its own separate entity all on its own kind of deal. So I'm excited to see where he goes from here, like how much more he works with William Afton, and then in Carrie, like his role in Carrie. I'm excited to see where that goes. Matthew Lillard, though, I feel has kind of flown under the radar. Like when you say his name, there's a lot of people who don't know who he is still, but yet I think he is a horror icon. So what are y'all's thoughts on him and his popularity? Like, do you guys think he's starting to get the credit he deserves, especially in the horror genre? Or do you think he's still kind of going to be one of those just flies under the A-list superstar of the genre rating kind of thing?
I mean, I believe like from the 90s to the early 2000s, we knew who he was because we grew up with him. And it took like Scooby-Doo, like the younger generation, because Scooby-Doo is like the go-to for, horror kids. And then
Yeah.
when Scooby-Doo came out, you have all these kids who now know who he is, will go back to watch, movies like Scream,
Mm-hmm.
The Devil's Child, 13 Ghosts, who look up to him. And he's at cons now.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, wow, we slept on you, man. Like Hollywood, yeah, they're probably like, sleeping on him. Still probably sleeping on him, really.
Mm-hmm.
But the everyday fan, the everyday connoisseur knows who he is because we grew up with him.
Yeah.
And we love him for who he is and what he can do. Like I said, because he's not the conventional pretty boy, Hollywood's not going to cast him in all these action
He's still
movies.
gorgeous, though.
I think he's gorgeous, but you have to think about our thoughts of what Hollywood thinks is
like
gorgeous versus
he isn't comparable to Brad Pitt.
No,
like if you want to do like 90s heartthrob kind of deal.
Sorry, I think Brad Pitt is ugly.
But you have to think of
However,
but the thing is, you have to think of
about
the industry.
The 90s,
exactly.
Brad Pitt was like, this is the goal. This is the standard.
Yeah. And then you have, with Marvel and DC actors, they're gorgeous. You're like, damn, I can't get that gorgeous. My genetics are not that great. But, you have the everyday man with the everyday actor, that people cling to and love and respect and want more of. Like Hollywood, probably not, but us, regular
So
people.
do you think he will now become kind of like a top tier horror star?
I believe so. Like there's very like with his long run of horrors, he is the horror star in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
There's not that many horror dudes out there.
No, there's not.
He's like the only one I think
horror
of.
is very much for the scream queens.
Yeah, but he's my scream king, even though he plays a lot of villains.
Yeah, I call him a scare king.
Okay. Scare king, because he's not the final boy. He's not the final boy. So yeah, he is the scare king. He's the scare king.
Lisa, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's already becoming an icon in like all the regular people who are in the horror, you know, the ones who've grown up with him and everything. And he'll have that. And I think that's a good thing that he's not getting sucked up by Hollywood, because he gets to choose his roles a little bit better, and he can decide which, you know, and just because his personality wise and, you know, his family's before everything, and he works hard. And I think I don't consider him medium road. We know who he is now, but I don't want to see him go above that where he's like Hollywood and all that, because I think that would take away from who he is. I think what he is right now, and maybe a couple other more roles, like in that medium, like horror genre right there, where he has his pick, kind of like where you see Tony Todd everywhere. We're going to see Matthew Lillard everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So and to most of us who have been watching his stuff forever, that's good, because he'll always be working.
Yeah.
He will always be working. And that's what makes him more of an icon than some of these other people, because he's always got a job.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I look forward to seeing him do darker pieces. And, you know, maybe he'll come back as Nosferatu. But no, anyway, I'm being silly. But no, I think he is an icon right now. And I'm kind of glad he's under the radar of Hollywood. I think Hollywood would ruin him. Yeah. For the fans, too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Personally, I think he's always been a horror icon, and people just have slept on him. Again, like had he been picked up and became a genre icon early on in his life, I don't think he would be able to have had the life that he had the opportunities to be there for his kids as they grew up. You know, he talked about in one of the many interviews that I saw, he talked about like, oh yeah, like I just went to Disney and nobody knew who I was. He's like, but I got to walk around Disney. Like, I want him to still kind of almost have that. I still want him to have success, but I still want him to be able to have a personal, private life that is separate from his career. I think there is a happy medium in there. Yeah. But at the same time, he is a man that I think does deserve to have that top tier horror icon kind of fame, because he is such a quality actor, and you can tell that he loves the projects that he works on. He loves being able to bring things to life for others. And because of that reverence, that's why he deserves it. Not because, you know, he's pretty enough or this enough or that enough. Like, he deserves it because he's a good guy who truly does care about what he does. Yeah. I mean, it comes out in his interviews. It comes out in the way the roles come out, like how the projects end. Let's kind of talk about some of his roles. What are some of y'all's favorite roles or least favorite roles that he's done in horror?
Well, I could say that my favorite roles was Scream, because charismatic psychopath. Come on, charismatic psychopath. And 13 Ghosts, because, you know, you have this ability to connect to ghosts and whatnot, but it kind of sort of, well, the scary ghost traumatized him. Okay. Like, the scary ghost did traumatize him. Like, regular ghosts, I think they would probably been okay with it. You'd be like, oh, okay, that's just Martha. Yeah. The jackal, oh my God. And my least favorite, I would have to say, because it's so long ago, Ghoulies. Like, I was never into the Ghoulies franchise.
Same.
But I don't know. I just, I never was into that. Yeah, I was never into that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Lisa, how about you?
Okay, my all-time favorite role of his has to be 13 Ghosts. The emotions, I mean, he's like here, and then all of a sudden, then he's terrified. Just the way he's bouncing back and forth, and And it's like, and then he had betrayed them, and then he turned good. And I love the way he played that role. It was fantastic. And I like him in Scream too, because it's like, charismatic psychopath, just like Karen said. My least favorite had to be Ghoulies, because I didn't even realize it was him. So, there we go. I was never into the Ghoulies.
I mean, he wasn't like a central character in Ghoulies.
Yeah.
But he was one of the frat boys.
Yeah. But that has to be my least likely.
Yeah, that's my least favorite also, I will say, is the Ghoulies. But again, that's his first horror film. And I want to say that's like one of his first movies. Like he was just a baby actor in there. So, obviously Stu, he is top tier.
Oh yeah.
I liked him as Rafkin in 13 Ghosts, but I love Stu more. I love him as William Afton though.
Yeah.
I love him in FNAF, and I'm very, very excited to see where he goes with Afton in the one coming up, which I believe is releasing December.
December 10th.
Yeah, December.
So I really, really, really enjoy watching him as William. Love him as Stu. How can you not love him as Stu? And I mean, I was a little too old for the Scooby-Doo movies, but he did a great Shaggy.
Yeah, he did.
He did a great Shaggy.
Those are some comfort movies.
He was good in The Devil's Child. Like, that's not a movie I watch very often, but I think he was pretty good in that one. So, yeah. Let's actually, because he's, like I've said earlier, he's a very diverse actor. Is there a non-horror project that he's done that you all are absolutely in love with him in?
Serial Mom.
Serial Mom?
Love him in Serial Mom. Great movie.
Lisa, how about you?
I like him in, and this is going to probably boo me, I liked him in She's All That. Actually, he did a really good job in that one.
Yeah.
That was a fun.
Yeah,
yes,
he was. He was in it because of Freddy. Freddy got him that job. I absolutely loved him in Love's Labor's Lost. I think he was fantastic in that. He sang, he danced. It was beautiful. And it's not like anything else that he's done. And I'm sitting here going, sir, why have you not done more of this? This is good. I really enjoyed this film. So it was, he's a fantastic actor. I mean, he can sing and dance too. Are you looking it up, Karen?
What? Love's Labor's Lost?
Yeah.
Yep.
All I know is, like, as soon as I said it, it looked like you were looking it up. So that's why I was asking. It has, like, Alicia Silverstone in it. The guy who played Gilfried in Harry Potter and did, like, Nightmare on the Orient Express and all that, he directed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's one of the William Shakespeare's. Okay.
Yeah, it's a musical Shakespeare.
All right.
I don't think it's streaming anywhere right now, though. I think you have to rent it and watch it. But yeah, I think that's my favorite non-horror project. Although I do like him in Without a Paddle. Yeah, I mean, he's mostly in his underwear the whole, did the film. So it's not bad to watch.
I like how there's like two different Love's Labor Lost. And I'm like, not that one. Not that one. Oh, there it is. Right there. Okay, that's the one.
Yep. Now, obviously, this is a man of many talents. He is known as being a nerd. He is very proud of being a nerd. We know that he is involved with the D&D community. He is part co-founder for Beetle and Grimm's, as well as Find Familiar Spirits. So he's got D&D paraphernalia, as well as a whiskey that is based off of the different types of characters that you can have in a party, as well as tequilas. So what do we think about him being this man of many talents?
It's good to be a Renaissance man. It's good to be a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
You're never like stagnant. You're always doing something. I do want to try his whiskeys though.
Right. And how like each one is like made for the type of character. So like there's one that's like made for a paladin. There's one that's made for a cleric. I'm like, oh yes, please. I'm not even a huge D&D player, and I'm like, ooh.
I know what to get you ladies for Christmas.
It's expensive though, because it's
I
like
know.
single batch. But
Oh, never
yeah.
mind. Maybe when I make more money.
Oh my God. I have to put in my birthday.
I wonder if we can put that on our throne list.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Right?
For you guys, not me. But
yes, for us.
I like
not
the
you.
bottles.
But Lisa, what about you? What do you think about him being this multi-talented individual?
I think it is creatively fantastic because as an artist myself, the more venues you have and the more skills you have, the better you are. It's just like Karen said, he's a Renaissance man. I like that everything he seems to touch is something that he loves and he does well at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fantastic. And it's creatively, I think it makes the creative energy even flow more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 100%. I think it's fantastic.
I think it's fantastic because both of those things aren't his face, aren't his brand. Like, yes, he's part of the making process of it, but he is not, it's not like, oh, here's his whiskey. It's like, hey, here's whiskeys that are based off of D&D character types. And then it goes from there. It's not like, and here's Matthew Lillard's whiskey, and here's Matthew Lillard's tequila, and here's Matthew Lillard's D&D, tools and props and products and whatever. It's very much, hey, here's this brand that he happens to be a part of. However, it is very much its own thing, and it's very much a quality over quantity type deal as well, which I give him massive props for that. There's a lot of these celebrities who now have like their own alcohol brands, and they're garbage alcohol brands. Like I've had some, like, I'm more of a whiskey drinker, and like, what is it? Conor McGregor has Proper. It is a shit Irish whiskey. It is absolutely garbage. I've had some of the celebrity vodkas and tequilas, and I'm like, these are so gross.
Dan Aykroyd's.
Like, why would you put your name on? I haven't had Dan's.
Okay.
But like, I've had other things where I'm like, why would you put your name on this? Because this is disgusting. But it's they can make it in massive quantities and not care about the quality. And I know quality over quantity, because if it's good quality, people will buy it.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about him at cons. He got his role in FNAF because of how he is at cons. How do you guys feel about him as a con experience?
I want to meet him at a con.
Yeah, me too, actually. I would love to meet him at a con.
All right, let's get him at Dragon Con. I mean, I know that he'll most likely be at Spooky. So if you guys want.
Yeah, you got Clyde Barker this year. I might have to fly down and see you.
Yeah.
To see.
I mean, I don't live anywhere near him or near there, but it's a few hours drive.
We'll rent a car.
There you go. Actually, I think I'm working that weekend.
Oh.
Well, Karen and I will come and then we'll tell you all about it. Just kidding.
Because I think he's at the summer Spooky Empire, because Spooky has 2 events.
Oh, yeah,
or actually,
right.
Technically, they have 3. They got 1 in the summer, and then they have 2 in the fall. One is up in the Carolinas, and the other one is in Orlando. Sometimes in Tampa, depending on what's happening in Orlando. But the summer one, I think, is where Clive is going to be at. Because they haven't announced the stuff for the October one yet. But again, how do we feel about Lillard at the cons? Lisa?
I've heard such great stories and on his interviews. Like he stayed 5 hours after just to sign autographs. Not many actors do that. I mean, back in the day, you had some actors when they didn't have all the handlers as much. And some of them would do that. So I kind of miss that. And I think that's a good thing that he cares about his fans. Mm-hmm. And that's important because it makes him more successful.
Yeah.
And the fans feel like they're a part of his universe then. you know, and it makes it more personal, which I think is great. It really does. So I have heard wonderful things about how there's a line going out the door, but he still takes the time to talk to them. And I think it's fantastic. And I hope he keeps it up. I hope he doesn't get to the point where it's like, next. So, yay, Matthew, keep it up.
Yay.
Maybe one day we'll all three see you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's such, you know, for me, he looks like he's such an approachable guy that I could see that, you know, fans, you know, coming to see him because he has that charisma, that natural charisma that, you know, that a bard needs to tell stories and whatnot, to sing or do whatever, to tell tales. And people just want to be around him. And I can see that he has love for his fans. And I love that. And even if you are a handler, and sometimes you're like, sir, we need to go. We need to go. No, this is my thing. Let me enjoy it. And sometimes as a handler, you have to back off because, you know, if your person is having fun and tells you to back off, you back off.
Yeah.
But, you know, if they have a set schedule, it's like, sir, you have to be somewhere at like this o'clock. Okay. But, you know, if he didn't have anywhere to be, I could see him just standing there for hours, just talking to fans, signing stuff, you know, just having fun with it. It kind of, you know, it kind of reminds me of that one year where Tom Felton who played Draco, he went walking around. He walked around Dragon Con, just having fun.
I have actually ran into him physically.
Wow. That's amazing.
I finished up a photo op with John Barrowman, and I was coming out of my area, and at some of the cons they have just like basically like fabric like walls up, and so sometimes when you come out you're like, wait, which way do I go? So I kind of did that, realized, oh, I needed to go left, so I turned and went left, and the next thing I know, Tom comes running out of wherever he was through the curtains right into me. He's like, oh, sorry, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, all right, have a good con. And he just like booked it. I was like, okay, you too, bye. Where's your handler?
Yeah, you should have a handler. But like I've heard stories like where he's like in the food court just chilling and people like, you know, walk up to him and talk to him.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the type of vibe that you want from your you know, attendees, because they, in a way, you're kind of like the everyday person. They know you're the everyday person, but they also know that you have this celebrity status, but at the same time you're kind of like, you're just like me.
Yeah.
And that's how you feel when you're around people with so much charisma like that. You're like, you're just like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to like have a con experience with him. I would love to like meet him in con. Like him and Skeet would be amazing. It's like, it's the Street Boys.
Oh, I would totally do a photo op with the two of them.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I love them so much. I don't know what that says about me in my mental capacity. However, no, I think it's amazing that he appreciates his fans the way that he does. And like he acknowledges like, yeah, for me, it's like a day of like meeting like 1 million people. But he goes, I know that I just spent 3 minutes with you and that was a life-changing experience for you. He goes, I know that like just having one interaction with somebody alters their life. I guess he's had fans who said, hey, I met you at this con, like whenever. And honestly, you saved my life because I was going through some stuff but you took the time to like connect with me as a fan, and thank you. Like to have fans who do that's amazing. And to be able to have those kind of stories is so, so cool. And I hope for any celebrity that they take that in mind when they do cons and they do tables, and like don't sit behind the table and have it be just such a machine type deal. If that's how it's going to be, don't go to the con, because you're not going to just ruin the con for yourself. You're going to ruin it for your fans. And like he's like, I don't want to sit behind a table and just sign things. He's like, I want to stand out in front of the table and interact with the fans and give them hugs and get these photos with them and sign the things that they want to sign and interact and find out what they love that I've done so that way I can continue to love what I've done. And so I think it's kind of cool that he has this whole encompassing thing.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when I met DB Woodside at Dragon Con. He wasn't standing behind the table. He was actually out front greeting his fans. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I remember you from the Temptations movie. And he was like, oh my God. I was like, yes, I know I'm old. We're both old, but it's okay. And so we goofed a little bit. And I was like, sir, you just made my day. And you also made my dad's day because he loves that movie. And my dad saw the picture and he was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, I got that picture for you, Dad.
You know who was really cool at Dragon Con? And then when I was a guest at like Wizard World and stuff, is Ray Park. He always tells his handler, let me finish with my fans. He is such a goof too. He does not care. He wants to have a good time. He pranks other celebrities, which is hilarious. And, you know, he was really cool. And so is Mark Singer. And so is Kenneth Branagh, who I actually did the same thing you did. I was running from the trauma panel that I was doing to go get something to eat. I smack dab ran right in front of him and tripped. And he tripped. And I picked him up. I'm like, oh, sorry. Hey, I like your acting. And then I went on. So, but he was pretty cool. But I like it when celebrities are like, you know, like that real themselves.
Yeah. I mean, Brett Dalton, people know him as Ward from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been in a number of other things, but that's like my biggest thing for me personally. But I saw him in Florida at MegaCon. And then 2 months later, almost 3 months later, 3 months later, I saw him at Dragon Con. And he remembered me and my friend. He was like, you guys were in Florida, right? At MegaCon? And we're like, yes. And he goes, hey, how's it going? And he was so excited to see us. And we ended up chatting with him for like 10 minutes because he didn't have a line at that time. But it was like also like one of like the first days and super early. So like nobody was there. And he was just like, oh my God, it's so good to see you guys came all the way up here too. We're like, yeah, definitely. And we talked and we had a great time. And it was this just beautiful connection. And that doesn't happen with everybody. And so it's nice when you're able to have that moment. Like I compare it to when I met Stan Lee, which they obviously with Stan Lee, the line was like 2 miles long. But, and it was very much he was just signing things and going. But when you were able to be like, thank you for what you've done. I really love like what like the work and stuff, you could see that it brought him joy. And he was able to like say a few little different things to people. His handlers were pretty like good at like moving people back and forth. But it was nice to be able to have like that just like small little like 30 seconds with him. But you could tell like he was somebody who wished he could have had more, but they wouldn't have let him because logistically it just would not have worked.
Yeah.
When I met Carrie Fisher, it was the same way. Like her lines were like absurdly long, but it was because she also took time with everybody. Completely different experience than Billy, who Mr. Orlando Calrissian, who was big old grumpy butt and was very unhappy to be at the con.
Oh.
It was actually a really bad like experience. And I was like, he was just having a bad day. So I try to like make that the thing, but when you walk up and you're like, hey, are you having a great con? No. Oh, okay. Got it. Can you just sign this for me, please? And thank you. I hope it gets better. Like, loved you as Lando. You were great. It was very awkward. And I made it very, very short.
Yeah, like, a lot of people who were there at con are like, dang. Billy was kind of short with everybody. And I was like, maybe it was because he was having a bad day. And then I watched the interaction, was on the Walk of Fame, and I was like, oh.
I don't think he likes cons.
No,
I think
not really.
I think it gives him, but if you don't like doing cons, don't do them.
Exactly.
I feel like Christopher Judd does, like take a shot.
Or Adam West. He was high.
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't even get me started on Adam West.
I mean,
God rest his soul.
My brother's a huge Batman fan, and so I had gotten a compendium for him, and it was of some like the earlier comics, but those were the comics that they used for the show. So I stole his book back from him that I'd given him, and I had Adam West sign it. When I went to have Adam West sign it, he's like, "And who's this for?" And I'm like, "Oh, my brother Alex." He's like, "Oh, all right, Alex." And I was like, "Homeboy's high as a fucking kite." Whoa. I was just not expecting it. Like I was expecting him to be like a little, exotic or, a little, crazy, but not expecting high as a kite.
Michael Ironside. Oh my God, at the last con I went to, he was so tanked. The guy who from Scanners.
Yeah.
I can see that.
He was so tanked, and he was like flirting with my roommate Octavia, and she's like, "Who is this old man?" I'll just leave it. They'll blow up in a minute. But
old men always hit on the young things.
Oh yeah.
I like it because I'm like,
yeah.
You know what? I don't mind. It's like I love you.
I got hit on by the lead singer of Skinny Puppy from Repo the Genetic Opera.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
He was sweet.
On that note, let's go ahead and finish it. That was a long segue.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So before we end it, let's kind of talk about how does Matthew's performance as William Afton, how does it compare specifically to his like earlier horror roles? Like, so let's say Stu, because that was one of his first prominent roles. Like, how does that all compare for y'all?
Okay, so you're talking about a charismatic psychopath versus dad vibes.
Okay.
So that's how I compare them, because they're both equally great roles and they're both rememberable. So, but you have the history of Stu. You know what's going on with him. I would like to see, this character for Five Nights at Freddy's, his character fleshed out. I want to know his backstory. I want to know everything about him.
That's what's happening too.
Well, we'll see. Because even though they say this is what's going to happen, next thing you know, you're like, that's not what you said.
Based on the characters that have been cast, you're getting a lot of his backstory. Not all of it, because his backstory is almost synonymous with like the entire lore of the franchise as a whole. But we're starting to get like how Fazbear's started.
Yeah. But because I'm not really, a fan, I'm not really, I like the movie. I haven't played the video games, so I can't really compare. But looking at the two characters, the dichotomy is there. You can see you have the dad vibe, which is totally different from all his other movies, versus a charismatic psychopath. And then you have, his other movies, like the sympathetic psychic who, was out for his own skin, but, he's like, oh, I have to sell these kids. I sacrificed myself for you. So I would love to see a little bit more story of the dad before I could, like, make my judgment.
Gotcha. That's fair. Lisa, how about you?
Well, I can definitely see how he's evolved a little bit from the way he's acting and everything. And I think his earlier work has influenced this new from FNAF. Yeah, it is kind of a dad vibe, but it also is a scary dad vibe. It's like, you don't want to be in trouble, that kind of feeling. So I think that whole dichotomy right there, I really think you can see the evolution of it, to be honest with you. I mean, if you just sit down and you can watch them both, I mean, I see difference and I see better. It's become evolved and better, and that makes him where he can like be more in different roles and doing different things as in the horror. He's so versatile because he's done so many different things, and him getting stuck in horror actually helped a lot, and him being in comedy helped a lot.
Yeah,
because comedy and horror are basically the same together.
Yeah. Two sides of the same coin.
Yep.
Scoobs.
Which, if you want to hear us dive more into comedy and horror being two sides of the same coin, go to our comedy horror episode. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, no, I think the evolution of his acting, you can see it. I feel like instead of being the class clown goofy, he's been able to keep that kind of like the feel that you get from the goofy guy. He's kept that, but he's modified it, and it's aged well. I think it's interesting that you guys both said like dad vibe. I got middle management vibe. I got this is the manager who at the end of the day does not care, but he has to cover his own tuchus, and so he's asking you to do your job, and therefore there's like a part of you who's scared, because if he is having to go get your shit together, you know your shit's like really out of whack, because he's not the one to say that, because at the end of the day he doesn't really care. That's like the vibe he gives, and then he becomes this presence of evil who I don't that evil is like even darker than what Stu was there at the end. Like Stu, yeah, like you could tell he was a complete psychopath and like he was chaotic evil for sure. This is very much like lawful evil in FNAF. And I think it's interesting how through his career and like all the different roles that he's played, it's brought him to this character that is so substantial and has so much more. Like, it's what makes me intrigued and excited for FNAF 2, because I'm like, ooh, we are going to get more of him, and I need it. Like, I want to see where this goes. Like, I'm excited to get more of him. But with all of that, do you guys think because of his history, his resume per se, do you think that was what kind of made this film kind of get legitimized for the non-FNAF fans, the people who are not familiar with the game? Do you guys think he was kind of like one of the pulls for it?
I would have to say for me, it did. It really did. Because I wasn't originally going to go see it at all. Even though my niece wanted to see it because she's such a big fan, I was like, oh, whatever. Then I heard he was in the movie, and I was like, okay, let me watch it.
You had to sacrifice yourself for your niece.
Yes. And I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not that bad of a movie.
Yeah.
Because my sister-in-law, her mom was like, it's probably going to be gory and scary and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I'll watch it. I'll watch it. And I watched it. I was like, even though he didn't have that much screen time, Matthew did a good job. Did a great job. Yeah. And my niece watched it, and she was like, that's not part of... And she was starting pointing out some things that, wasn't part of the lore and all that. And I was like, just enjoy the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she shut up and enjoyed the movie.
I mean, it's kind of Scott's retelling of FNAF, I guess. Is it like in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Lisa, what about you?
Yes, actually, I knew a little bit about FNAF, but yeah, because I'm a fan of his, I went to go see the movie. And I think a lot of people who were his fans in general that may not have been playing the game and may not have known the lore went to go see the movie and fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So I think he had a big pull in it, and he brought more people into it.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people are like, oh, it was Josh Hutcherson, I think is what it is.
Yeah, Josh Hutcherson.
Yep.
Okay. I know for some people, Josh Hutcherson was the pull. Personally, I think he's a garbage actor. I'm not a fan of his. Like, if anything, I almost didn't watch it because of him. I did watch it because of Matthew. I totally 100% watched 100%. It because of Matthew. And I didn't care if he was only in there for a minute. He was in there, so I was going to watch.
Exactly.
And I had heard about the game. I hadn't played it yet. I had heard about it and was told, hey, this is like the lore in this game is kind of cool. And so I was intrigued. I had reservations because of Josh. He didn't do bad in it, but
could have been better.
Yeah. There could have been better. But yeah, for me personally, I think Matthew was the pull. And I think that was the case for a lot of people who aren't in the gaming sphere. He really was, I think, the pull, especially for the people who grew up watching him. They're like, oh, yo, Homeboy's in a new franchise film? Yeah, let's go. Like, let's go check this out. And they were like, oh, now I kind of want to play the game now. Like, this kind of sounds fun. Well, let's go ahead. It's that time. So let's wrap this up. What are your hopes for his horror career? And do you guys want him to get that, like, Scare King title? Lisa, why don't you go ahead and start us off on your final thoughts?
My final thoughts. He's a fantastic. Let's see if I can talk again. He is a fantastic actor. He's so versatile. And I really think he should be a Scare King. He really should. Watching him evolve over the years, yeah, he definitely deserves it. I like his work-life balance. I think it's great. Yeah. He definitely deserves more roles. But I think where he is right now, where he could be himself with the fans and pick and choose the roles he wants. And now that he's in this great franchise that he loves, and I give him 5 skulls.
Rock on. Rock on. Karen, how about you? What are your final thoughts and hopes for him?
I hope he continues on this, little trajectory that he has. I hope he gets all the best of luck and love from his fans. I hope he continues to be able to pick the roles and spend time with his family. I just want him to become, our Scare King, kind of like what Tony Todd was. Rest in peace, sir. Because he is the next person to take that mantle with his diverse acting and whatnot. And, I grew up with him, so it's kind of like 5 skulls.
Yeah, definitely a 5 scholar. I mean, he's phenomenal. He is such a diverse actor, and he's absolutely talented. I cannot wait for him to do more and to thrive. I actually would love to see him continue to grow from this renaissance of his. He kind of calls it his 3rd renaissance. I would love for it to grow in a different way. I would love to see him do more directing. I think that would be a really cool thing. He's directed one film in 2012. What was it called? The movie that he directed was called Fat Kid Rules the World. So I would love to see him do more in the directing sphere. I think with his talent of being able to blend comedy and horror the way that he does, I think he would be a fantastic horror director.
Oh, yeah.
His passion for teaching, which you can hear it when he does panels, where he almost sounds like he's a teacher, or even the fact that he's even said in interviews, had his career truly tanked, he was going to move back to Michigan and become a teacher there. I think that's fantastic. I think that having somebody who has that that urge to teach and to build and to create something new, it shows such character and such strength that I want nothing but the best for him and what he can provide and pull out. So here's to Matthew Lillard, killing it in his 3rd renaissance. I mean, literally, figuratively, on screen, But our lovely little ghouls, our fellow horrorholics, do you think Stu survived the TV smashing his head? Come tell us in our comment section. We would love to know. But you can find us on all the social media platforms at Earth Station Boo. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, Blue Sky. Our Facebook is always a hoppin' and a boppin'. Check out our Discord. We have fun in there. There's always a question of the day and all sorts of other fun little things that you can post up in there. We would love to chit chat with y'all. You can also subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts, like Apple, Google, Spotify, and YouTube. So subscribe, share it with your friends and family. You can also leave comments and we will talk to you. I promise. But before we go, ladies, where can they find y'all at? Lisa?
You can find me on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram.
Groovy. Karen, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit.
Rock on. And I am Shannon. You can find me on all the things at Spilled Tea Wine Media Mind. And like always, our fellow horrorholics, our lovely little ghouls, thank you so much for listening to us. We really appreciate you and the support that you give us, for joining us on every episode and for subscribing. Please continue to share with your friends and family and other horrorholics and everything. But stay spooky, our lovely little ghouls.
And this has been the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.